The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Welcome to The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu. We've got a great show for you. Of course, Cali Chrome won the Kentucky Derby. If you're wondering, of course, if you're a horse racing fan, I know a few of you guys are involved in horse racing or at least horses one way or another. Greg Buchanan, of course, you are my co-host. How are you?
Not too bad, Moses.
Excellent. And of course, you also work with CPCA Radio, getting things...
Getting ready. Before you know it, we'll be on the track.
Exactly, and it starts up later this month, so that's going to be great. And we're pleased to be joined by BJ Carey, one of the CPCA drivers looking for a title this year. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Moses?
And you're familiar with horse races and definitely bringing those horses into the chuck wagon scene.
You bet. That's what we do. We take the retired horses, and those are the horses that we use.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll become champion horses in 2014 for you. Now, speaking of champions, we'll go with the NHL and begin with the Stanley Cup playoffs. What can we say about Jonathan Quick? After the first 3 games in the first round, the opening of the playoffs against San Jose, he allowed 16 goals. Since then, 5 games, only 5 goals, earning another victory for the Kings last night in Anaheim. So they have a 2-0 series lead. He's been phenomenal. He's been lights out. What do you have to do if you're the Anaheim Ducks to get some wins, and more importantly, get some goals on this guy?
Well, I think you're going to have to run him. Get him out of the net.
I think Corey Perry tried that a few times last night.
Yeah, I think Jonathan Quick is the guy. He's going to be tough to beat. And the only way they're going to beat LA, I think, now is if you get him out of there.
Yeah, and the thing is, the Kings are doing right now a good defensive in front of them. It's a Sutter coach team that really clogs in neutral. You don't get a lot of speed through the neutral. They clog the defensive zone too. So Anaheim can't really do too much but just dump it in. And LA gets back there in a hurry and dumps it right back out. So it's not a real fun game to watch, but very effective. You know what I liked about Quick is that when they were getting bombed in the first 3 games, and I think he was shelled for 7 goals in that one game, he went to the bench. He went to the bench as a goalie, and sometimes goalies will go to the bench and say, "Get me the heck out of here." But he went to the bench and told his players and encouraged his players, this series isn't over. So as a guy looking at that, like Jonathan Quick's not just a good goalie, but he's a real leader on that team.
I think it speaks volumes for him. But is there any way that this series can go in favor of the Ducks, knowing that they're going to be in hostile territory in Los Angeles?
I don't think so. I think the Ducks are in trouble. I think LA's gonna pour it too.
Yeah, Ducks might get a split, but that's about it. I can't see this series going more than 5 games.
Okay, let's move on to the other game that happened last night, the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, Alain Vigneault and a lot of pundits are saying this is a fatigued New York Rangers squad. They played 5 games in 7 days. That's a lot, and most out of any postseason team in history in the NHL. So with that said, and with the back-to-back shutout losses, do the Rangers have a bit of an excuse of being tired or having those tired legs?
82 games over the season, they had a break. I don't think so. These are top-notch athletes. They're running into a hot team. Pittsburgh's hot right now. Columbus only stole 1 game from them. So in the first round. So I think that Pittsburgh's another team. They're going to be tough to beat. Fleury's playing unreal. Crosby scored his first goal last night. Pittsburgh's a good team, and the Rangers are going to have to dig deeper, hit harder.
You know, Pittsburgh's a 2-headed monster. You got Malkin and Crosby, and with those 2 guys are gone, and if Fleury's can stop the puck like he has been doing, it's going to be lights out for the Rangers. But you know what? In the playoffs schedule is what you make of it. The Rangers, if they would have swept Philly, if they would have been done in 5, we wouldn't be talking about this. So really, if you extend a series of 7 games and you're complaining about, well, we're not getting a lot of rest, well, welcome to the playoffs. If you wanted a lot of rest, finish off a team early, get the rest, get ready for the next round.
But I do want to get to this. I know you guys just both touched on this, and I think this is very important. Now, goaltending has been key for any series. You need a good goaltender. Marc-Andre Fleury, especially in recent years, has known as one of those guys who seems to choke when pressure hits. And there are a few times, even though they won their series against Columbus, BJ, as you mentioned, they did look a bit shaky, or at least Fleury looked a bit shaky a few times. However, last 5 games, he's 4-1, back-to-back shutouts, first ever Penguins goalie to do so. Is he the guy back to his old form like he was when they won the Stanley Cup back in 09? Or is this just, one of those ebbs and flows you see with players?
I think he looks confident now. After last year being pulled with Vakoun going in and playing the playoffs, he hasn't played that level of hockey. Yeah, the NHL, but he hasn't played a playoff game in how long? It took him a few games to get that under his belt, and now he's confident, and it's just clear sailing for him. I think he's back to his old form.
Yeah, he had one real brain fart against Columbus when he goes behind the net and plays the puck. Like, what are you doing?
He learned his lesson in games.
Yeah, he learned that, but it happens in games. You just, you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, and you fart and you make a mistake and it goes in your net and then they score in overtime. But you know what? The key thing for that is you got to bounce back in the playoffs. Yeah, you have to have a short memory. So don't dwell on what you did last night because you're playing tonight.
All right, we'll talk about teams that are dwelling. Maybe you could say this about Claude Julien and the Bruins. Big win for them, coming back with 4 straight goals after being down 3-1. And, of course, penalties hurting their team early on, 2 power play goals on 6 opportunities for the Montreal Canadiens, which prompted Julien saying, you know what, there was a lot of crap we had to deal with, and we came up with a win. Michel Therrien came up and heard that and is like, relax. He's just pandering to the media. I don't know if you call this tactics or just more so a little fun. I don't know. But which side of the ball do you agree on? Do you think this is just something that is a cause for concern, or do you think this is just more so a mind game that the Bruins are playing?
I don't think either. I think they're just playing their rough, tough hockey, and the Bruins are bullies. They're a bigger team.
Yeah.
They're Montreal's small. The Bruins are gonna get the penalties, and they're gonna have to deal with them. Their effing's a lot tighter. There's no two ways about it, but they just gotta deal with it.
But do you agree with Michel Therrien saying, you know what, he's just trying to
I agree
pander
with
to the referees?
Yeah, I agree with Therrien. He's trying to maybe change the tide a little bit, but
Hey, I've done that before. I've done it a few times. I got suspended for it. But you try to push the envelope, and you try to watch out for this, watch out for that, and sometimes you be called the whiner. But at the same time, if you get a call the next game because of it, so be it. Yeah.
That helps your team. I think that's what it comes down to. So it's just more so just the game within the game than anything else.
For sure.
All right, guys. Speaking of games, we're going to have to take a quick break. We got some more games with you guys coming up. But first, after our timeout, we're going to talk about more Boston and Montreal, including PK Subban and the racist comments that occurred after game 8.